So yes, I wanted to actually ask you all guys that maybe in the last after this session we can discuss little bit. Is it this content in one day going heavy for you all, or it is okay? So maybe next time we can based on your feedback we can design, or whether you can also give feedback which we will share in the last, and from the next time we'll have maybe light and less content version so that everyone can digest in a day. Online mode is also is a problem, I think so. So let's see, we'll discuss. Very subjective question. Oh, thank you. So we'll take 5 to 10 minutes in the last to discuss. Yeah. So now I think so.
Why sparse is giving an error.
Yeah. So Gopi, you can start.
Why sparse is giving an error.
Oh, that one.
But the final one.
Huh. Sparse is giving an error because sparse won't stay zero data. But when you give that to ParaView, ParaView needs the value of the function at each point. MATLAB avoids zero because MATLAB is not performing that calculation. For example, can I share the screen?
No.
So I will write a calculation and show you. It's just a simple 3 by 3 multiplication. What actually philosophy is sparse? It's a very good question, Yeah. So for example, suppose you have a matrix A. That is 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 1, 0, 0, 2. If I know this is sparse, either to compute this multiplication, I can do this in two ways. Either I can write 0 into x1 plus 0 into x2 plus 0 into x3 plus 1 into x3, and I will get this is x3. Okay, and the next one I can do 2 times x2, 0 times 2 times x2 plus 1 times x3, which is equal to 2x2 plus x3. Third one will be 3 times x3, 0 into x1 plus 0 into 0 into x1 plus 0 into x2 plus 3 into x3, and I will get that is x3. Now suppose that I tell you, instead of giving the matrix structure as it, I am telling you, okay, A of 3 1 1 3, first row third entry is 1, A of second row second entry is 2, A of second row third entry is 1, and A of third row third entry is 1. Okay, then you don't have to worry about the other values. We know already there is 0. So when you do the matrix multiplication, it is just you look at the non-zero entries. The first one will be simply 1 into x3, second one will be 2 into x2 plus x3, third one will be x3. Okay, so you are not performing this calculation, you are not storing this 0 data at all, you are ignoring that. But when you are going to plot that, you need that. Okay, you need not need only, you should also know, at what all points it has 0, what all points it has not 0, then only ParaView can visualize that one. Okay, so there are two things, there are two parallel philosophies going on. One thing is that you are optimizing your calculation by not performing any multiplication or addition by 0. Second one is you want to show 0 value. Okay, because you are plotting the 0 value and you are plotting the 1 value, all these things. So you have to know at that coordinate what is the value given. That's why sparse is creating an error when you try to visualize it. Is that clear? Yeah. Now I will share my screen from my end. Let's continue with the MATLAB. So I'm not going to make it heavy anymore. I think it's already too much of information, and both of us feel that it has become a little bit more mathematical than we expected. But MATLAB stands for Matrix Laboratory, and Matrix has to do something like that.
Mathematics.
Yes. So
True that.
yeah. So I somehow fixed my my working one. So we were here. We saved my file as a VTK file. What is VTK? Visualization Toolkit. So just export here. See, you get this clear. Okay, and that is your value. So 1 is the highest displacement, that's here, and blue is the least displacement. Now there are many options here. Now this is just surface. I can see what is underlying grid also used. Just click surface with edges. See, you can see the triangulation also, which we have used to compute the calculation. Okay, this is more applicable, in finite elements, but it will just give us an example. Now, what you can do is that sometimes we have to give the contour lines when you publish data. So what you can do is that you can go here. There is an icon here that stands for contour. Click on contour. You will get a line, but the problem is the other one will disappear. The problem is you have to open my file VTK also. There is an I symbol here. So if you click on the I symbol, it will just disappear. See? Now you can increase the contours as you want. Click on contour 1. You can add one more contour, say at 0.1. You get one more. You need add one more contour at say 0.8. Okay. So that's how we made the other figure. Okay, and then how do you save this file? Go, save screenshot, and wherever you want to save. I'm going to just save in my documents. Hopefully my Paravi won't get stuck. Save what kind of file you want. I think it's saying that is a PNG. So this is also image. And it will start for compression level, resolution, all these things. Just give okay. Yeah, I think it started to work. I have no idea why these things are behaving this way. We go to code, and today's files doesn't connect in documents separate. Look at that. That's how we export an image from Paravi. You get the axis also. Why is it? We are viewing from the top of the Z axis. Okay. Is that okay? Any questions? Now I will quickly show you the heat equation, which is a bit more difficult. So earlier we thought Rekha will explain the philosophy of heat equation. I mean this thing, but maybe I will do that. Do you want to do? Okay, so I will do this.
What? We were supposed to get the assignment.
Okay, then not good idea.
No.
So I will just show you the heat equation, how it's being done, and we will write a short note on that and send as an addendum. Can you share the screen? Maybe stop.
Will you write the finite difference cube?
Yeah, we'll just show write the heat equation. What is? So I'm not going to give a lot of details, but just give you an idea what's going on. So heat equation stands for, suppose you have a rectangular domain and you are applying some kind of temperature here, say T0 or say T left, and you are having a temperature here Tr and T bottom and T up. Okay. how the heat propagates on this lamina. So that's given by the heat equation. Heat equation is of the form del Tu minus Laplacian U is equal to F with an initial condition U of 0 xy is equal to U0 x2. That is the initial temperature, okay? So if the initial temperature of the lamina is known to you, can we find U of Txy at a time t? That's the philosophy of heat equation. Now minus Laplacian U equal to F, that we have already discretized, okay? How did we solve that? We figured out an equation AU equal to B for this, where B was minus h square, okay? Now what we have is that we will have a temporal term also, time derivative. So the time derivative we will approximate something like un plus 1 by un 1 by delta as we did in transport equation, and along with that I will have AU. So this is minus A. Okay. We will write a very detailed note on what's happening here. We don't have enough time, to write all the equation. That will stress you out also. So we now, instead of the space dependence, U was actually U ij previously. Instead of that, we have a time index also. So it will be un ij. Okay. So we'll put un here, un here. So where un is the temperature at ij. It's a matrix at ij. Basically, it's an approximation of U of Tn xi yj. Okay. So what we are going to do is that we will just solve this. Again, there is a stability condition here which states that delta by h square has to be less than 1 by 4. Okay, that also comes from the analysis. Okay. So this is the philosophy of the heat equation. And how do we solve this? Okay, we have this scheme 1 by delta un plus 1 minus un minus aun equal to minus h square f. So I will get un plus 1 equal to un plus sorry, I think I made a mistake.
The h square.
Yeah, sorry. It should have been the bottom. Because 1 by h square is the derivative.
But EU you are writing. So you actually don't have to write.
Yeah. So we made a mistake. Just use this. Don't worry about the scheme. We will write a short note for this one. It's equal to minus un f1 delta a by square un. Okay, so I can compute it. So it's another similar to transport equation, but instead of scalar you have a vector. That's all. Equal to un plus delta by h square aun plus delta b. That will be the scheme. Okay, so this is how we are doing this. Okay. And now I will show the implementation of this one and generating of the profiles. So Rekha will stop share and I will stop share. And share my MATLAB screen. Yeah. This is yeah. So again we have to do the same thing. I have to declare J, create X space and Y space, a matrix to store the load data, that is the source term, B to save the source term. These functionalities we already described. Okay. There is a zero matrix to save A. There is an indexing ELN. So and there is a construction. The construction of A is exactly same as the Poisson equation. Okay. So basically, a temporal variation is introduced in the Poisson equation. That's actually heat equation. So whatever tools we are using to solve Poisson equation, that can be adapted to solve the heat equation by introducing a delta factor. Okay, now what we do, we did the same thing that we did in the transport equation. We define an initial time, a final time, delta value according to the stability. Okay, h squared by 8. You remember in transport we divide that as h by 2. Okay, and we define the time space, n, number length of time space, u. We here impose the initial data. In the transport we had only one variation. Here we have x and y variation. Okay, when t is equal to 0, each function, the initial temperature is a function of x and y. This is initial data which I am serving here, and then it is just solving the scheme. See here, un plus 1 equal to delta b plus lambda times AUU. This is the scheme I have just written there. This I have already shown this to you for how this comes. Now it may be going a little bit overhead, and then we have to introduce the boundary condition. Okay, now UB stands for the temperature in the upper level, and UT is the temperature on the bottom level, UL is the temperature on the left hand side, and UR is the temperature on the right hand side. Let's do one thing. Let's open these functions. I have already coded this for you. Now in the Poisson equation we took homogeneous condition. You can take non-homogeneous also, where we have non-zero values. We will do one thing. We will give the bottom temperature 0 and left hand side temperature 0. Right hand side we will give a I'm going to paste it here. That will get UR and UT will get 0. Okay? And again we have to save this data. Again the linear triangulation. And now we have to save that as a series of VTK files. Exactly the same thing we did for transport equation. Instead of a series of CSV files, we are going to save a series of VTK files. Okay, each VTK file stands for each time instant. Okay, so I will just run the code. Let's just wait it to be finished. So sorry, I should have shown the time also. Because we will not understand whether the code is delta times sorry, let it run. So that is each time propagating. Take like about 1 minute to complete. So when it's before the time it finished running, we can take some questions if you have. You can unmute and ask yourself. Yeah. So that's the MATLAB plot. You can see the temperature on one side is
Right hand side is
used and the other side is here. That's triangulation. So it should have been saved in the output folder. So let's go to the output. To the box. PGC, codes PGC, equation, output. Yeah. So what you do is that minimize it, go to paraview, take another render window, exactly the same thing we did, select all VTK files, okay, click on it and just drag into the render window. Okay, you can reposition it, that is a legend, and run it. Can you see that it's heating at one side, temperature is increasing at one side, All the other three sides are 0. Now I will try if I can export this animation. I'm still not sure. There's a chance that it get to see users mesh robots heat equation. Yeah. Again got stuck. There is some problem with my exporting option. We have to reinstall Paraview. That's how you make animations in Paraview. So it's very simple. You have to create a series of VTK files and put that in the Paraview console. Also, you can edit the legend window and you can change its names. Just right click on it, pop up a window will pop up, and then you can do it from there. I just got Paraview got stuck. I have to forcefully stop this and then. I will show you the movie we created by previously. Showed in morning also. So that's the heating on. Here the heating is on the left side. Okay, so it's heating to that side. So this is how I exported. This one is I exported from Paraview, and saved as an effect, an AVI file. Good. Now maybe I can show one more. Yeah. So this is when you apply a temperature on the center of a disc of a square lamina. So you can see that it's getting heat up from the center, from the inside, and boundary boxes are remaining as zero. So temperature at the center of the disc is getting higher and higher, becoming very hot. Very hot. It means very hot. So you can make all these nice movies using Paraview. You can make also movies using MATLAB, but it will be very very heavy. You have to write at least a one-page long code. I have done this one time, but Paraview is more advantageous because Paraview does not involve any codes itself. It has all these inbuilt options. You just have to export data from MATLAB as a VTK file or a CSV file. For one-dimensional data, CSV files is better. 2D and 3D data, VTK files are the better. So I will send all these files how to write all these things. You don't have to worry about what's happening inside a VTK file. Basically, it's a connectivity data structure file. You have all the coordinates. All the coordinates are connected, and then Paraview will appropriately construct the profile for it.
So Gopi, there is one question.
Sure.
Why in the triangular heating, the heating was started from both the sides?
Oh, that we in that example we gave one side temperature as 1. So left and right has some little bit temperature. This in the movie we simulated using Paraview, like just we did that, which we cannot able to export there. 3 sides were 0 and 1 side was temperature. The movie I showed you, that means this one. There one side there is a little bit of heating. That's because this side I have given temperature 1. In this side I have given temperature 1, and this side I have given an exponential temperature. That's why this side stops heating at some time because a constant temperature is coming from there. And from the left side, constant exponential heat is coming, so it's getting more and more hot.
But after some time, maybe it has to flow from the right side also, because the constant temperature is also applied there. No?
But on the other two sides it's 0 now. Yeah.
Okay.
Top and bottom. So some amount of cooling is coming from that.
Yeah.
Okay. maybe I can teach you something about optimization, or we can ask questions. There are two ways we can go now.
You can take home, ask them.
Yeah, optimization is there in the schedule, correct?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
If it is heavy, then
We'll just take questions.
yeah, we can take the questions from the whatever we have learned or did throughout the day, and if you all agree, then we can go for the optimization.
Oh, sorry, I put another wrong code.
Whatever.
Somehow I cannot create any more tools. Maybe you can create a poll in the
My side.
Telegram. Or you guys can put in the chat box, whether you want to stop or you want to do the optimization.
No, means question answer.
Question answer, yeah.
I mean, you can you can all ask any question related to the MATLAB and ParaView. Otherwise, Gopi can go with optimization part. So I think they are not,
At least there
optimization. They are saying one is saying optimization.
So at least there are no questions.
Yeah, questions are not there. Yeah, people are saying for optimization.
Okay, so MATLAB optimization. So I will give you some.
Yeah, let's go ahead with. We have almost half an hour.
Yeah, we have a
So we can then go forward with the optimization.
Yes.
Since there are no questions.
So one of the things MATLAB, the issue is it's a very, very slow code program. It's a very slow thing on the cost of user friendliness. As I would like to record again what Pepper told in the morning. When you write a C++ code, a C++ function, we have to give what kind of input we are giving, the data type, and what kind of data type we are getting. For example, we have to say that function long double input and long double output, or a function float input, float output. Okay, and also it varies for matrix types also. We need to give a double array, integer double array. So we have to specify what kind of data type we are using to C++. Okay? But in MATLAB, it's very handy. We don't even, in none of the functions we define, we never specified what kind of data structure we are giving, what data type we are using. Whether it's a double, whether it's a float, or long double, or integer value. What MATLAB does is that whenever you declare a function, it will create a copy for each of the input output type. Okay, so whenever it sees the function tag, it will create a copy of function. It will allocate space for long double input, long double output. To create some memory space in the memory for long double input, float output. So all combinations will create it. Okay, and that will take time and memory. Okay, so what's the advantage? Advantage is that it's easier for user. The user don't have to care about what kind of data is using. Okay? This is one of the examples by which MATLAB is very slow. Okay. Another reason why MATLAB is slow is that it's a curse of every other language. Is the use of for loops. Okay. Loops makes every code run very slowly. Okay. But MATLAB has a workaround it. It's called vectorization. So I'm giving a few tips how can you make your code faster. Okay. For example, there is a run option in MATLAB. Now if you don't have experience which part is making their code very slow, what it is that there is something called run and time. So Click run and type. So we will get a profiler. The profiler will show you which part of MATLAB or which command or code of MATLAB is consuming more time. Okay? I guess it will be the for loop we are using here to solve the equation that is taking the highest time. It's very difficult to make parallel computing with time loops, okay? But for space constructions, space loops, in most of the cases, we can use a parallel assembly. I will show you how it can be done. So it's running still. So this will show a profiler. Okay, can you see the profiler? No. The profile summary says solve heap took 57.118 seconds to run. Okay, and highest time is taken in the right VTK file, which we cannot do anything because you have to run a time. Okay? So this 10 seconds is unavoidable. Then evaluating the source function has called how many times? 28 million times, I think. Okay, so 2.8 million times. It's got 2.8 million times and it required 9.173 seconds. So let us try if we can reduce that time. Okay, so what is that? Let us go to the source function. Let's see where we are calling the source function. We are using the source function here. Okay. Now, how can we optimize this one? Okay. Now here, let us open the source function. We can make this into a format where it can take vector values. Okay. So what you do is that suppose you have a function like this. What you do is that you put something called dot operator. Dot operator means point-wise multiplication. Okay, so I will show you what dot operator means. We have 1, 2, 3, and b is equal to 4, 5, 6. Take a star b. It will multiply the entries of a and b point-wise. So this is like 1 into 4, 4, 2 into 5, 10, 3 into 6, 18. Okay? So it's called point-wise multiplication. The point-wise multiplication is a very good tool in optimizing programs. So what we do is that let's go here, editor, and we made the source function as exponential of t square. You have to put dot operator here also. Now let's go to solve it. Now let us try whether we can remove this for loop, the inside for loop. Okay, so I can write instead of that b of, I need the m data. Okay, how can I do that? I'm going to write a global m. So this is mvec equal to, instead of computing for each I from 1 to j, I'll just take 1 to j, the array 1 to j. To that I will add j minus 1 dot j. Okay, so let us see. So what is do is that it will compute all the linear indices at the same time. Okay, I will just write j. Let's do an example. J is equal to 1. So what is n1? See, so that whole operation that was in a loop is converted into a vector operation. Okay, then what you do? Now, instead of assigning for each m, I will assign for the vector as together. mvec1 equal to source t of n. Now, instead of x of I plus 1 calling like that, I will call x of 1 to j plus 1 comma y. So MATLAB says that I don't have to put the brackets because it's unnecessary. Okay, now let's run this code again. So done. Oh, okay. So wait a minute, I have to, okay, this should be 2. I should get a prime because otherwise the matrix size won't matter. So x of 1, 2, z plus 1, that is column, so I have to keep prime to make it bigger. Oh, there is again an issue. What happened now? X of 2 to z plus 1.
No, 20.
Look, it should be okay.
It's 40. What is another? 1 to J is
So let's check why there is an inconsistency. MVec is 1 to 40.
what is the capital J?
Capital J is 20. So we have made a mistake in calculating MVec. Let's check why is that. I think I have to write the column again. Let me check if it works now. That's working. Sometimes don't trust whatever MATLAB says, it will create errors. Oh, I should run this in Profiler. I should know the time. So our intuition is time for running should have been less. Decrease now. Have any questions? What we did now?
Is there any other platform to learn Paragon?
Yeah, means from any other source to learn the Paraview.
There are a lot of tutorials available on YouTube.
That's what I said, YouTube.
Yeah. YouTube is the best source for learning Paraview. If you want to learn advanced Paraview, like how do you do these things, then you have to learn from somebody who is. Mainly fluid dynamics people are using Paraview. That's, it's not in the mainstream yet. Yeah. Now, how much time the source function used now? It's only 1.67 seconds. So we have saved 9 seconds. Okay. Previously, and it is calling only now 0.14 million calling times. So that's a time advantage. So this is the philosophy of optimization, code optimization or code tuning. You are eliminating loop calculations mainly and using vectorized calculations. Okay. Let's try something else what we can do. We are calling write VTK. All these things are taking a little bit time, and highest time is taken for write VTK. I think this is pretty much what we can do. Edit solve it. Then without knowing, I have given something. The clear was, usually there is another command, it's called clear all. Don't use this because clear all commands everything you have. That also takes some time. So always use commands that can save time. For example, clear was, and we can also use sparse whenever zero matrix is not required. Now, I can give you an assignment. There is an initial data coding here. Try to vectorize this one. There are 2 loops there. Go to your MATLAB, respective MATLAB, and try if you can, optimize that one. I haven't shared this code with you, right? So I'll put this in Telegram. share you the heat equation code. So I have shared you the heat equation code. Try if you can optimize. So tell me what we can do it here. How we can eliminate the second for loop, this for loop. Anybody? The same thing.
Yes, you can unmute yourself and answer.
You can put in chat box also what we can do if you don't want to talk. How can we eliminate that loops? So, somebody?
Can you repeat your question?
Yeah. Can you eliminate that loop I have highlighted there and write that as a vector command?
Maybe you can also explain what we do.
Okay. So what we did before is we had this for loop here that's commented here, and we have written as a vector command like this. So this for loop is doing in a single step. Can you do this for this one also? Initial data. No response? Okay, everybody is tired. We should do this. Okay, I will explain this once again how you can do this. Okay, I will comment this. So how do you do? You define a vector for m, that is 1 to j plus j minus 1 star j. Okay, now u of m work 1, define that as u in x of 2 to j prime u of j plus 1. Okay, so what we did is that we calculated all m values as a vector and calculated all u m values as a vector. Okay, so I will show you the time we can save by doing this. This way I will uncomment this. There is a command called TikTok in MATLAB, not TikTok. It's a TikTok command, you know, to know the time we use. I will write tick here, I will write talk here, so it will find the time in tick in executing this command. Says that it takes 0.0526 seconds. Let us see whether it will get increased or decreased. So now I will make this one. So previous time is 0.0052. Somebody notice it, 0.0052.
You have to
Come in this one and let's try this one. Got increased.
do it again.
Keep debugging and I will just run one more time. 00261. Yeah. But if you want to see the difference, you have to take the other one. So TikTok command, you know, is a very nice thing where you can use to know the time that is consumed to take something, to compute some operations. For example, you can also convert these loops into vectorized code. So I will just show you how can you do this. You can say b of 1 to j comma 1. So all these are vector codes. So it's very, instead of writing this long loops, we can just say p of 1j comma 1 tn x of 2 j plus 1 prime. And so this guy also you can say like this. So it will save a lot of time. Instead of 5, just give you the what are the values you have to vary. It's 1j. Here also it will be 1j. And it will be 2 j plus 1 to column 5. Okay. So these are the ways you can save the time a little bit, save the time. But also these are not the only optimization tools, but loops, eliminating loops is the most easiest way of optimizing your MATLAB code. Most of the time, if the time is being lost for doing the assembly, doing things as for loops. Okay, so avoid as many for loops as possible. For example, we have how many for loops? There is a for loop here. We have eliminated 2 for loops here, and there are 2 for loops here. There are 2 more for loops here. Again, there is a 1 for loop inside. Okay, so eliminate most of the for loops. We can say this time. I will tell you a story. When I was in the 3rd year, we were doing this tumor cell simulation, and you have to fit data so that to get modeling information. So for fitting data, you have to run some kind of statistical estimation over a large number of values. So my first code I have written was taking 36 minutes to run. So for getting one result test run 36 minutes, and we have to run like that 4,000 times to get a correct value. Okay, so 36 into 4,000. Imagine how much time it will take. Okay, so that is not affordable. You cannot run a code for 36 minutes. It should be take at max 2 minutes, not more than that. Okay? And we optimized that code heavily, removed all the for loops, removed all zero matrices, and then introduced the sparse assembly, all these tricks, so that the optimized code is taking only 30 seconds to run. So it is 36 minutes to 30 seconds. Okay? So think about the efficiency of MATLAB optimization. So you're getting the same result in a very low amount of time, in a very efficient way. So it's a skill to learn also. One day you cannot learn how to optimize MATLAB codes. You have to do it several times and understand where you are losing time. Most probably it will be on for loops. Okay, and sparse indexing. I told you about the sparse matrix storage. There are many other hacks you can do in MATLAB to make your code more efficient and memory friendly. One of them is sparse indexing, and there is other declaring variables is one way to do. So if you are having another workshop on finite elements or something, then we will give a separate session for optimization. So maybe I will stop here. It's almost 5 o'clock. 5 minutes remaining. My watch.
So if you have any question, you can ask in this 5 minutes.
So we have covered a lot of things from morning. So if you have questions,
you can unmute yourself and you can ask.
If there are personal questions, that's in the email ID is given in the poster, or you can email me or Rekha. So we can answer the questions.
So I think there is no question, I think. Okay. So I request Prateek to please go ahead with vote of thanks for the workshop.
Thank you, Sandeep ji. I'm thankful to Gopi Krishnan and Rekha for enlightening all of us with their expertise and experience in MATLAB and ParaView. I'm definite that this workshop has added value to participants' knowledge as well as skill of the MATLAB and ParaView. This will be useful to strengthen our portfolios in longer run. I'm grateful to IITB Monash functionaries for arranging venue and providing much needed support. Let me take this opportunity to thank my colleagues in PGSC, Sandeep Kumar Mishra ji, Parth, Sunita for arranging back-end things flawlessly. Also Radik for encouraging and supporting everyone at every step of the event ideation and organization. Many thanks to Parijat for making catchy poster. Last but not the least, I would like to congratulate all participants who patiently and enthusiastically attended all the sessions, raised their queries frequently, which is a good thing, and made this workshop successful. I request everyone to fill the feedback form. We have shared the link in the chat box. Your feedback is necessary to arrange future events. Certificates will be provided to those who have attended at least 3 sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We are ending with this workshop. I hope that this was useful for you, everyone. And of course, your feedbacks are welcome. We have shared the feedback form. Please fill it. That will help us to, arrange a workshop in the future. Thank you.
We will share all the codes and
content
on the heat equation.
Yes,
So you can go and refer.
yes, material we will share.
Yeah.
Thank you.